Hi everyone, my name is Hitesh and you're watching Dancing with Data. Today we are going to learn about visual calculation, especially when to use visual calculation, when to use measure, what is the difference, what are the advantages, so forth and so on. We'll make use of sample superstore to recreate the same scenario, same use case, percent of total using both the ways. And on the way you will get to know that why visual calculations can make your life much easier, but at the same time there are the scenarios where measure can be a better option. Before we move on, remember visual calculations are currently in preview, and also before September 2024 you had to enable it in options and settings. However, from September 2024 onwards, visual calculations are enabled by default. There are different ways to access new visual calculation. One is under the modeling, and the other option you can go to these three dots, and after that just click on visual calculation, and as per your need you can select the options. Let's try to understand this point by point along with the use case so that you can understand in a better way. Before we talk about it more, let's recap. I have changed my visualization to matrix, and that will help me to collapse and expand. My aim is to get percent of total within category. So let's do that with the help of a new measure first of all. So let's go and create a new measure. Click on new measure. And as we mentioned, percent of total within category. So for that, I'll have to make use of, so first of all, sales measure. So let's give it a name, percent of total within category. So definitely we need to divide. So divide, numerator will have sales measure. And now while we divide, we need to make use of calculate so that we can change the filter context. Again, sales measure. And then I tell Power BI that I need to get a total within partition, right? For technology, I need to have one total, for office supply, so forth and so on. So for all except function, I need to put table name, comma, and after that I need to get that column name. So in this case, it will be category because I want to get my total within category. I got my new measure there, and let me add to this my visualization. Here we go. Let me change this format to percentage. And here you go. Now let's do the same thing with visual calculation and analyze the difference. So let me just go. It's quite simple and straightforward. Go to these three dots, new visual calculation, and I want percent of grand total or percent of parent. That's what we need in this case. I click that, and after that I get this visual matrix, formula bar, and visual preview. So you are not writing any lengthy calculation. You are not thinking about how to change the filter context. Maybe you don't even know what is all except. The only thing that you know is you need to get percent of total within parent or within category, and you will put that respective field over there. So I'll just go and put sales measure, and again collapse sales measure. And this is an optional thing for now. How the visual calculation traverses the visual matrix. For many visuals, the first axis is rows, which means that the visual calculation is evaluated row by row in the visual matrix. So we'll go with that. Let's play enter, and here you go. And you can see that it is getting us the same value. For now, these are the templates which are available, where we tried with percent of parent. And I would love you to try for the collapse all function. Let's go back to the original topic, that how visual calculation differ from other calculation options in DAX. Remember that visual calculations are not stored in the model. The one we created is pretty specific to this visual, and if you try to search this amongst all the fields, you will not find it. However, you can see the measure that we created. That also means that you will not be able to change the format as you did for the measure, because you can select and you can change the format. However, you can make use of format function to achieve the same. And that's why visual calculation can only refer to what's on the visual. So if I go back to my visual calculation, when I write category, it can detect. But when I write customer ID or customer, it will not detect because this is not present in the visual. So if you want to use it, it has to be in the visual. So anything in the model must be added to the visual before visual calculation can refer to it, freeing visual calculation from being concerned with the complexity of filter context in the model. That's what we did. We used all except over there so that we can change or modify the filter context. Now that you don't need with the visual calculation because it act on the already present view over there. And you do have a calculation which will create that subtotal with respect to category for you. So you don't have to worry about the context. And that's the main reason that it will be easier than the traditional DAX calculation, because you're not writing extra for those filter context change, so forth and so on. And that's how it combines the simplicity of context from calculated column, because you don't have complexity with respect to context when it comes to calculated columns. On the other hand, it includes on-demand calculation flexibility from measures. So you use it whenever you need it, unlike calculated columns. I know the other thing that is coming to your mind is performance benefits. Basically, with visual calculation, you already have a view with the final aggregation, and that often leads to better performance. A great point. Last but not the least, visual calculation are part of the visual. That means that you have to act on what you see. There is nothing like that. You have to go back to the backend table, and from there you'll have to think about changing the context of the filter. So everything is simplified. In the end, just keep one thing in your mind, that DEX is not replaced. Whatever you have with visual calculation, it is limited. I've already shown you the limited templates that we have. Another thing is that you cannot reuse, since every visual calculation is specific for that very particular visual. Last but not the least, this is still not for the complex scenarios. But anyways, you don't have visual calculation for complex scenarios. So I hope this was an informative session for you. See you again. Till then, keep on dancing with data, क्योंकि data ही data है.